Yes.
Right. You know what I mean?
But
Go ahead. Sorry.
one of the key characteristics of hip hop, again, what we spoke about is it's organized chaos, right?
Yeah.
Music itself was like that. The dancers, the b-boys, the b-girls, the style was like that. And with that, you seen a little more freestyling within it. Where the scene is today, passing mid 2000s, right? We had the forum evolved to
Right.
what we're on right now, YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So YouTube, everything, you didn't have to go to the source, you didn't have to study the culture, you didn't have to be a part of the culture to learn breaking and be a part of the competition community.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So that's the thing that, what brings up this subject right now for the great shift. The biggest shift, I think, was that. Because now it went from like the freestyle session message boards, and then and we didn't even talk about the b-boy world, message boards and that, but it went from the message boards to now we have access to the world. And YouTube actually killed, and Cross One could vouch for this. A lot of promoters back then, you weren't able to bring your cameras into an event because they wanted to, make money from the DVD sales.
Yeah, of course.
But when YouTube hit and DVDs just period was like, that's another shift, because maybe not right away, but you could see a battle within the week of.
You can see
maybe not you know what I mean? Not yet, but your early YouTube, it would be uploaded maybe a week after.
Early YouTube, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, early YouTube, you could be like, oh, I can't wait for that battle to come out next week, versus like, I can't wait to see that DVD that I might get in 8 months with post shipping and handling, and you know what I mean, and ordering it from a website.
It's kind of a more pure way to be influenced, aka to see a movie, like, take it and you give your perspective of it. You kind of didn't have a choice but to give your perspective. We didn't have tutorials. It was a platform for people to start teaching and reaching on that level, which again is a separation from having to seek out a Zulu gremlin or somebody that comes from the deep culture where you have context behind the movement, what you're doing, and develop it close to the culture itself. That's one of the ways it's separated also. Yeah. And again, we see it in these styles that are post YouTube, right? Yeah. A lot of them can't freestyle. They disconnect from
So Roman asked, where would people buy these DVDs back then? You'd order it on websites. You basically order it on a website, and that's how you would go to freestylesession.com, and then there would be links to people like, hey, this DVD is coming out, this battle's coming out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yo, so Cross even said this. Like, I knew about this too.
Yeah.
There was how-to forums even on discussion boards.
Yep. And you would buy DVDs at Mr. Rags or at the mall. Yeah, they had them. They're on consignment. So that's the whole thing, because it used to be at the height of the DVD era, it was skating DVDs and breaking DVDs and graffiti DVDs, right? If you think about where Jackass comes from, they come from that. Johnny Knoxville and them, Bam Margera, they came from that. Shout out to Billy Bell, one of the original guys to cover Freestyle Session. He was in the skate scene with Cross and promoting Freestyle Session in his skate video. So shout out, rest in peace to Billy Bell. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Cross, like, who was doing how-to for? Like, who was influencing teaching, like, back then, like, pre-YouTube, I wonder? Because right now we see all kinds of Tom, Dick, and Harry's, and, like, with how-tos and tutorials. And not to discount whoever that is that I don't know that is doing that. But, again, the main point, what we're seeing is a lot of people are teaching things that's separated from the context of hip hop. I don't know who was, but people would ask.
No, I think it was just a few random people. But remember, this was super specific within the scene. And I think if you're on the message boards, the thing is that reaction of a guy putting a whack tutorial. Oh man. Oh man, because it's a message board, right? And this is early comments, right? This is early context of what comments are now. If you weren't a name,
Yeah.
yo, you had like maybe even Mr. Freeze on there, like that was whack. Who the hell are you? I've seen it on the freestyle session message board.
Okay.
Shout out to Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. So the thing about that, I mean, like we're teaching maybe not even with video, maybe some video, but a lot of people are just like, hey, if you're doing that, you need this first, and you need to put your hand here. You know what I mean? I'd imagine it went something along the lines of that.
Yeah, I think so. It was like hard to upload stuff. You know what I mean? So it would just be kind of talked about with pictures. And we're talking early 2000s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let's make the transition because it came from that. Then we're talking about YouTube, and then YouTube becoming like this thing where again the DVDs are gone, right? DVDs, period. This is not just in breaking, just period. DVDs are starting to go to the wayside, and YouTube comes up, and you can upload a video, let's say within a week, right? Like, because it was that slow, right? Like, I could upload a video in a week, and you waited for a week for your footage of a local competition to come out. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's fast.
Yeah, which back then compared to 6 months, a 6-month wait, 1 week, that's tremendously like you have access quicker. And one of the big things to make it like, to make it global was especially when Korea got involved. When Korea got involved in with John Jay and helping them out, we're gonna pull them up right now. That even shifted the whole country of South Korea to make breaking their official sport.
What do you mean official sport?
It was their official sport. Money was put into their events. Like banks would sponsor their events. Like major corporations sponsored events in Korea. They became the official sport. Breaking became the official sport.
You're telling me they weren't doing it just for exposure? You're telling me that they got money for this?
Yeah. Oh. They got money for it.
Sorry, that was my attempt at sarcasm.
Okay.
But cool. Okay, so we see.
So this is a big thing about YouTube because now that there's exposure in that way. You know what I mean? Where it can, and then you could see basically the numbers on the register of the screen, right? Like in YouTube, you could see, oh, it had 10 million views. Yo. Corporations came in there. Shout out to Cross again, and it's true. Where is it? Oh, yeah, in Korea, it went backwards. It went from corporate back then to grassroots now. I agree.
Man, that's almost comforting to hear and kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Things are self-correcting like that.
Yeah. R16 was a government-sponsored event. Yep. For over 10 years. Yep. Here's the thing, too. Here, I'm going to put the volume down on this. So here's the thing, too. This is how big it was, Korea. So the first time me and Rob went to Korea, we went to just go around and just tour and just see the city in Seoul, right? And, they were like, oh, you can't be here. You can't take pictures here. And there was this Buddhist temple, right? You can't take pictures here. And then the guys that were taking us around who were B-boys too, it's like, oh, they're American B-boys. Oh, B-boy? Okay, yeah, you can take a picture here. Like, because it was like an official sport in Korea.
Almost the opposite of what it was viewed like
in
America. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was crazy to kind of have that. So YouTube brought that. It wasn't just Battle of the Year that did it. It was the coverage of Battle of the Year.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And that's the story. And, and I was, and Cross could vouch for this. Like back then, I was telling you, man, like they didn't care about Foundation. Born was an anomaly. He was an anomaly. Because, dude, like, bring it back to this video, they're killing it, man.
Yep, yep.
They're doing, they're breaking the laws of gravity, right? Defying the laws of gravity. And Born was like, hey, yo, I just want to do footwork, yo. And they're like, what? Why? Like,
Yeah, it's funny what support does, right? You know, you
Yeah,
talk about financial support, and then
yeah,
also people are like, "Oh, hold on, you're a b-boy? Cool, you're smart, you're valuable.
yeah,
Hey, you can take a picture. We don't let normal people, but
yeah.
man, I
Exactly,
love the Korean culture for
exactly,
that. I was
exactly.
fortunate enough to go to a R16.
Word.
I think it was in 2013, and one of the things that stood out to me is, you know, our chauffeur was driving us around, and he pulled a jack move in the middle of traffic and fully cut somebody off. Did a move he shouldn't have been doing. And in America, he probably somebody would have got out. It would have got violent, but no, the guy that we cut off was just like this calm, straight face, and was like, hey, you probably made a mistake, but you know, I hope you get on your way as safe as possible. Type
Yeah,
vibe to it.
yeah,
Culturally, yeah, I mean, everything about the people that we met, they took good care of
yeah.
us.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Give a shout out to John Jay too, man. John
Yep.
Jay now, who is part of, dude, he's basically the reason for Korea. Like, you know, who was part of Circle of Fire. Another link that we talked about.
Yep.
John
Yep.
Jay was part of Circle of Fire, basically helped shape the Korean scene, and now is working for Red Bull out here in America. Shout out to John Jay. So, yo, this is Shadow Rock and PROFOWON.
And this is JASOUL.
And you're watching the Gearheads Breakcast. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell at the top for notifications, and follow us on Instagram at Gearheads Breakcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace.